How maybe better equipped is this team this time around, just given the fact you've all, or the most of the guys in that room have now been through all of this last year?
Yeah, obviously it makes a big difference. Last year we learned a lot from our run and even going to the final and what it takes. And I think having I don't know how many guys are returning, more than half the team obviously, and having everyone back and knowing what it takes kind of thing is huge for sure.
Carter, when you look at Edmonton, obviously we know what they have in terms of the superstar power on offense. You guys being one of the top defense teams in the league, just how much you embrace that challenge, especially on the biggest stage?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a challenge. They have some pretty special players over there, and it's definitely going to embrace it. And I think, yeah, anytime you go against some of the best players in the world, it's always fun and challenging. And anytime you get a challenge, it's awesome. So it's going to be a good series, I think.
You kind of touched on it, but when you see McDavid out there, what is, if you're on the ice against him, what is the, I guess, the danger, or what do you have to be careful about with him, because he's obviously so fast and does so many things.
Yeah, I think anytime he's on the ice, you have to be aware. And I think it's just kind of getting in his way a little bit and making him skate through you a little bit. And I think, yeah, but he's obviously a special player. And every time he touches the puck, it seems like something happens. And I think it's just for us being stable and playing our structure and being good defensively and extra aware when he's on the ice.
Carter, for you personally, Edmonton in 2020 was, I would think, a pretty special memory for you. I mean, it's definitely going to be a different, much different atmosphere. But do you ever think about, like, every time you've been back to Edmonton, do you ever think about, this hall, I had the cup with me, that kind of thing, or
Yeah, a
anything
little
like
bit
that?
actually. Yeah. Obviously, it was really special. I had my dad there too, which was awesome. It was a COVID year, but obviously, definitely special memories winning the cup there. And yeah, I mean, we were in the bubble there for about a month, so definitely pretty familiar with the surroundings in that area. But yeah, it was a lot of fun and definitely nothing but good memories being there.
You guys have faced a bunch of good goalies in every round so far in the playoffs. Just what are your thoughts on Skinner at Edmonton?
Yeah, obviously, he's a really good goalie too. We don't play him as much as we play the goalies over here, but obviously they're there for a reason, and they made the final for a reason. You can't do it without good goaltending. So obviously it's going to be a challenge for us, and we played some of the best goalies in the world, and it's going to be kind of no different game plan for us, kind of thing.
Carter, from being around back here, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
When Paul Maurice has raved about the work ethic and the buy-in of this team from the minute he got here, and we know how hard, well, you all work. Barkey is legendary, obviously. When Barkey said the other night that Bob's the hardest worker on the team, can you sort of quantify what separates Bob from a room full of really hardworking men in the first place? How Barkey would say he's the hardest worker of you all?
Yeah, he definitely is, and I think he is on his own program, which is awesome. I mean, he's always doing different things where I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how that's going to help, but it does for him. You know what I mean? And yeah, he's out there early every practice doing his thing and getting in the zone. And obviously, all of us can kind of learn from what he brings to the rink every day with his work ethic. I mean, I've been around a lot of goalies, and no one likes it more when I shoot it hard and high than Bob. He loves it. He enjoys the challenge, I think. And I mean, some goalies get upset and shoot the puck back at you, but he just thrives and wants to get better every day, and that's kind of what I feel about Bob.
Can you give one example of that? What the heck is he doing? Sort of thing. Like when you see that, how is that going to help him? Like what is an example of that?
I mean, in the gyms, I think sometimes he walks on a wooden stick, probably this big, like on a pole. Like it probably helps his balance, but I mean, none of us really do it. But yeah, that's probably one example. Yeah.
Just to follow up to that, have you noticed the last 2 years or about a year ago, all of a sudden he became a superstar in the back? Have you noticed a difference in anything about him and Bob?
About Bob?
Yeah. I mean,
No, that's kind of the beautiful thing about Bob too. He just every day he's not thinking about if he's a superstar or he's not thinking about what everyone else is thinking about him. I think he's just coming to practice daily and kind of just doing his own thing. And he wants to be a great goalie and wants to be the best, I think, in the world. And I think he just comes every day with that mindset, and it doesn't really matter what anyone else really thinks of him. I mean, yeah, it's kind of him.
That was a follow up to that. My real question is, on your everybody has a different journey here. Yours has some interesting past. You split 2 years between Bridgeport Sound Tigers and Missouri Mavericks.
Yeah.
What was going on there, and what do you remember about that?
Yeah, obviously, I was in the American League and the East Coast League for a little bit, and I think I mean, you can't really control where you play sometimes, and obviously, both those places weren't exactly where I wanted to be, especially probably in the East Coast League at the time. And obviously, I had to prove myself and work extra hard, and I mean, kind of proved to everyone that I could play at another level. And it was the same thing with the American League kind of thing. I had to prove myself that I could play in the NHL, and it's kind of been like that's kind of been my journey the whole my whole career.
Was it a matter of playing time at either one of those that you? I think I read somewhere you had to you asked to play down so you get more playing time. Is that right?
No,
No. Okay.
no, I would never ask to play down.
Okay.
Yeah.
But two more questions, David and then Adam. Carter, just wanted to talk to you, just being at Canadian, and you guys have been through some very raucous buildings this playoffs, but it's going to be insane up in Edmonton, being a Canadian team in the final. What are you guys expecting from that? And just you personally, what it's going to be like, but how crazy do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be nuts. I mean, yeah, obviously they're really passionate about their hockey up there, and I think yeah, it's going to be a crazy. I don't know when the last time they're in the final. It's probably been a while for those fans, and I mean, I expect nothing but the best atmosphere, and it's a lot of fun going into buildings with a good atmosphere, kind of like we did last series with New York and Boston. And I mean, when the crowd's loud, it's the atmosphere is like awesome to play for and play in the intense moments. So it's fun.
Then speaking of journeys, literally the journey between here and Edmonton, the longest distance I think between any teams in the final ever. Well, first, just what do you like to do when you're on these long flights, and how do you guys stay fresh when you're on the plane for, I don't know, 6, 7, however long hours it is?
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a long flight, and I think it's getting rest when you need it. We like to play cards sometimes, and I think recovery is the biggest thing. I think whenever you get on the plane, when you get there, you kind of got to get your body right to what it needs for the day, or what you need to do to feel good the next day kind of thing, whether it's sleeping or going on the bike or something like that, or whatever you need to do kind of thing. And that's kind of, everyone's different. I think that's kind of been our whole team's mindset, just trying to get your body ready to play.
Who's the best at poker or whatever card games you guys play?
Probably me. Nah, dude, I don't know. It goes around. We play poker, but yeah, I don't know. I'd say maybe Forsling, Gustav. He's tight. Plays tight, yeah.
That's the final.
I mean, I think once our series over, I think you might watch it a little bit differently. Obviously, two great teams going at it. Your focus changes a little bit. Watching it as opposed to if we're still in a series trying to get there, for sure.
Sam, what did your time with Chris Knobloch mean to your development as a pro? And I guess how often do you think of him and what you learned from him in those days?
I mean, I was 15 or 16 at the time. Seems like a lifetime ago. I came in at with 15, played a little bit with an unbelievable team that he obviously led and a team that won. And then it was my first full year with him. So obviously a big part of my development. He's obviously had a tremendous amount of success since. So no surprise he's got to where he is. He was, yeah.
Going back to last year, you guys kind of sat around for a few days waiting to see what happened with Dallas and Vegas. Was this kind of nice to know it, the next day, who the opponent's going to be, and you're both kind of waiting for this to start?
I mean, it seemed like a month last year. We were waiting. We were sitting around. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're both in the same boat here. We've both got enough rest. We're both, got some time to recover and refocus. So we're excited about the challenge.
Sam, what do you think it will mean to just not just the fans of Edmonton, but Canadian hockey fans generally, that there's a Canadian team in the final? And what kind of atmosphere are you expecting when you guys get up to Edmonton?
We're expecting a great atmosphere. Certainly it's been a while. Was it since Edmonton's been in last, or when's the last? 2006 is when's the last Canadian team that's been in a final? No, that's been in a final. Was that the last? Montreal in the bubble, I guess. Yeah, but a little bit different with fans that year for sure. But it's obviously an exciting time. It's great for the game, so we're excited and we're up for the challenge.
When you look at Edmonton, what stands out? Obviously, they have some top end players you're familiar with. Them, you might be on the ice against them. What just stands out?
Yeah, I mean they've got an unbelievable power play and two of the best players in the world. So it's going to be a great challenge for us to try and stop them. And the more we could stop them, the more effective it's going to be for us.
Yeah, and Sam, to kind of build off of that, and you guys been one of the top defensive teams all year. Throughout the playoffs, you've stopped most of the opposing team's top players. Just how much does what you guys have done so far through this playoffs help you in terms of getting ready for the McDavids, the Draisaitl's, and just that offense that's going to be coming at you?
Yeah, I think every round, it's possesses its own unique challenge, and these top players on this team is matched by nobody. So I think we're a confident group. I think you play them a little bit more passive. That's when they're going to get you. So you got to try and take away their time and space. They're going to make plays. They're like you said, they got some of the best players in the world. So we're excited for the opportunity and challenge.
Sam, obviously, long way between here and Edmonton. What do you do to kind of stay fresh after those long flights, and what do you like to do when you're on the plane?
A lot of sleep, a lot of time to catch up on some sleep, especially on this flight. I mean, we're both in it. We're both sitting on that flight, so nothing changes from a recovery standpoint. All year, you kind of learn what works for you, and it's so important, especially in a playoff run, to take care of yourself, so nothing changes.
Sam, you guys have been very vocal of the goal's not finished, the job's not done, but when do you take the moment to reflect back of like the hard work that you guys have put in, being able to be in a position that you guys are now in the Stanley Cup final? What are you doing to reset? Do you, take a moment to actually enjoy it and, hey, all that hard work and here we are again?
It's not as much taking a moment and stepping back. I think you've got to really embrace and enjoy the work as you're doing it. That's got to be where the fun comes from. That's got to be where the enjoyment comes from. It's certainly not kind of sitting back and reflecting as we're right in the thick of it right now. So you got to embrace the challenge of it and take advantage of the opportunity.
The league tweeted out a picture about an hour ago of the top four guys in the 2014 draft sitting around together in suits at that draft. I guess you probably thought it was a pretty good draft before now, but just how neat is it that 1, 2, 3, 4 from that draft will be in this final together?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we've got a couple of us in this room, and Leon, I played a lot against him in junior. He's obviously transitioning to one of the most dangerous players in the game. So, like I said, it presents a great opportunity for us and a great challenge for us. And like I said, we're excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously different teams. Again, with our experience, I think we've learned kind of our way, our style of, what makes us great, what makes us, win hockey games. And I think we're just at that point where we're feeling good and obviously adding pieces, great pieces that, obviously on the ice, but off the ice as well. And, guys are excited to, start this again.
Monty, you guys have gone through some pretty insane buildings through the playoffs, but now you're heading up to Edmonton, Canadian team in the final again. Just what do you expect, and how much do you think this means to the fans, not just in Edmonton, but across the country?
Yeah, I think you just said it there. I think obviously they want their teams to be where Edmonton is, but again, a Canadian market, they're going to have their whole country behind them. Excited, it's going to be loud, but again, we focus on what we can here, and I think we got a pretty good state that is excited that we're back here too as well, and that's what our goal is, to bring that back.
Monty, all throughout the playoffs and throughout the season, you guys have been one of the top defensive teams in the league. You guys have shut down some of the top opponents through the first 3 rounds. Got another big challenge, McDavid, Draisaitl, et cetera, et cetera. Just what's the excitement level for you guys, their offense versus your defense, and just with what you guys have done this season, how much confidence you guys have going up against a challenge like that?
Yeah, again, I think, with those guys especially, each series has, specific players that you kind of key in, but, 2 of the best players in the world. Obviously, they've shown it their whole career, and those are 2 players that not necessarily you can shut down, but you can limit, and you got to make it tough on them. I think you could see, every team plays against these guys. They try to find a game plan to, stop them, and they obviously find their ways, just how talented they are. But you got to make it tough on them. It's going to be a long series, 7-game series that make it tough on them as much as you can, and limit their chances, to the best you can.
Just following on that, McDavid has the puck. He's winding up at speed. Or defense. What is going through your mind as he's coming up ice?
Yeah, try to match that speed. Again, try to get as close as you can possible. Again, he's going to come up with more speed than most in this league. It's tough to contain, but try to keep his the best gap you can as possible, and again, play as hard on him.
Monty, I know a lot of you guys played through a lot of for hockey minor, for the real world serious stuff last year as far as injuries when you got to this time of year. When you look back at it all, did you feel cheated? Like you guys weren't at your best. You weren't at your best. I know you were out there doing all you could, but how do you rectify the luck factor and how it just health was not on your side in that series?
Again, I think every team's going to have health issues, coming this far into the playoffs. I think luckily enough, for the most part, I think guys are, feeling pretty good right now. Obviously, each year is different. Each series is different. But, again, you get to that point, guys lay it all on line. Obviously tough bounce. But, they played, obviously, you got to give them credit last year. They're a heck of a team, and they deserve that. And, again, I think this year is obviously completely different. And guys are excited for the challenge and, have that itch to, get going.
Monty, looking at this week now, how do you kind of maintain a certain level this week and not get too high, too low? Obviously, last year you guys waited a long time. The other team did it. Now both teams are waiting quite a bit. But just how do you manage the emotions of this week before you finally get to game 1?
Yeah, last year was a little different. I think we had, 11 days, 10, 11 days. Travel, obviously. We start at home, which is a little different. Guys are kind of excited about that. I get to catch Kai's first birthday, which is nice. And for me personally, I guess it's a little different. My wife's pregnant, but she's not due until next year, so that's going to be a nice little different for me. But again, no, guys rest, recover, spend time with their family, their loved ones. It's obviously a hectic time. Friends and family are trying to get into Florida or ask for tickets and stuff. Try to avoid that as much as you can, but enjoy kind of this time to kind of recover and be ready for this big challenge that we have ahead of us.
How do you feel about OEL making it to the final this 14th year, and how has it been to just having him on the team and getting to know
no,
him?
he's been awesome. He's again another piece that we've added that fit in right away. Especially early on when we were hurt, fit in nicely. Plays his role to better than anyone, and obviously as a human he's up there for one of the best. Positive attitude at all times. But again, those are players. We have a couple of those guys that have been around the league a long time that haven't necessarily had this chance, and those are players that you want to play if not harder for just because long time. I think for all of us, we're excited to get this thing going, and we're going to play for each other.
I have two. The first is it seemed like just from watching by the end of the series, the Rangers just seemed kind of drained and like out of fuel. Maybe it looked different on the ice, but how do you guys use your physicality to kind of just get teams to kind of run themselves out of energy? I guess.
Yeah, again, I think that's a strength of our team is to press, make it hard for teams, and it's a series. It's not a one game win it all. It's you got to go right to 7 games if that's what it takes, and that's what our mindset is. And with New York, I think we felt that as well. And but again, they stayed with us. It was close games every. The series could have went either way, but close games all the way to the end. And I think, yeah, like I said, that's a strength of our team.
And then, Florida and Edmonton, very long plane flight between the two cities and stuff.
Yeah.
Just what do you like to do to stay busy or go to sleep? What do you like to do on the plane on those long trips?
Yeah, that's going to be 6 hours or so. So, yeah, I mean, you try to stay busy. Guys play poker, watch movies, I don't know, hang out, do a little, like you guys like to sleep. I'll kind of do probably a little bit of, I don't play poker, but I like to obviously have conversations around that table and watch probably a movie or two. But yeah, that's going to be a long one.
Anything on the watch list?
I got to find something. That's going to be a long one, so I got to find something new.
Long series. You played in front of Sergey for a while. I'm just curious, what's he like? Any stories of him on the ice that
Sergey?
Yeah.
Not really. No, to be honest, he's kind of. I think you guys see it. He's in his own little world, and which is obviously fine with us. You try to talk to him about some shifts here and there, but he's pretty quiet, reserved, and goes about obviously what he does.
Okay. How about he was asked earlier? Carter Verhaeghe was asked earlier, talked about his work ethic and mentioned he walks on some sound like a balance beam. I can't remember anything about his work ethic that stands out with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best I've seen since I've played. But again, he does his things. He finds ways that make him better, and it's working. So you let him do his thing. He's on the ice an hour before we are, he's doing his thing right now, in the gym and getting his rehab. But yeah, he does it better than anyone. So